Former President Jacob Zuma's troubles with the law are piling up. The state capture inquiry will now lay a criminal complaint against him. This after he left the commission without permission last week. Zuma will also be issued with another summons to appear before the commission.
I have decided to request the Secretary of the Commission to lay a criminal complaint with the South African Police against Mr. Zuma, so that the police can investigate his conduct, and in this regard, the Secretary would make available to the police all information relevant, as well as make information available to the National Prosecuting Authority. Most of the evidence is available because the proceedings of this commission were live on television, and exactly what happened from the time I began to deliver my ruling up to the time I adjourned the proceedings would be available. Apart from that, the Commission is going to take certain steps. One, I am going to determine other dates when Mr. Zuma must appear before this Commission. Two, the Secretary will issue a summons to be served on Mr. Zuma to appear before this commission during those dates.
Let's discuss this now with political analyst and host of The Fix here on eNCA, Karima Brown. Hi there, Karima. So some would say a bold move, but did Zondo really have any other choice? After all, to allow Zuma to defy the commission surely would open the door for others to do the same.
Absolutely, Sally. I think that, the Deputy Chief Justice had to draw a line in the sand. Because in as much as this is about holding Jacob Zuma accountable, it's also, of course, holding everyone else accountable to not disrespect the commission. And I think the Deputy Justice, Chief Justice, was very keen to set an example and set the bar quite high that, if you're going to lay down the law, it might as well start at the very top. And what better way to do it than to demonstrate that everybody, including a former state president of the country, is, compelled to account before the Zondo Commission of Inquiry. Justice Zondo this morning going to great lengths to speak about the fact that it is former President Jacob Zuma who actually signed this Judicial Commission of Inquiry into law. And of course, this is not just one move that the Deputy Chief Justice made, Sally. He made a series of moves in that he's going to be laying a criminal complaint, but he's also asking the highest court in the land, the Constitutional Court, to grant an order compelling Jacob Zuma to be there on the second summons that they are issuing, and more than that, to ask for permission if at any point he wants to leave that commission. So really saying no one is unaccountable, and that everyone has to essentially accept that we are a country of laws and that the Constitution reigns supreme.
It's very interesting that, that he wants to go to the Constitutional Court. Would that be an attempt to box the former president in, to stop him from seeking another way to appeal and yet again defy another date at the commission?
Sally, I'm so sorry, I can't hear what you are saying.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I was asking about that Constitutional Court request that Zondo's going to make. I found that really interesting. Is that a way of trying to box Zuma in so that he simply has to appear?
Absolutely. It's a very simple thing. As you know, Jacob Zuma is also launching a series of court actions, which will eventually end up in the Constitutional Court. And I think what the Deputy Chief Justice has done is to cut out all the, dilly-dallying and go to the highest court in the land and say, look, make a ruling one way or the other so that we can settle this matter. Because if he had gone to the High Court, because remember, the Constitutional Court doesn't like being the first court on which people, go to. They are the highest court, so they like people to move through the system. But given that that is what Jacob Zuma will probably eventually do, with the result being a long delay in proceedings, the Deputy Chief Justice expedited the matter and is trying to lock this thing in with the Cons Court to make that ruling. So it doesn't matter other courts that the former president goes to, because the highest court in the land would have spoken on the necessity for him to appear before the commission.
Karima, who do you think will blink first? I mean, this could end, if Zuma continues to defy, it could end in his arrest. He has said, or his foundation has said, that he would rather go to prison than appear before the commission again. Do you think that Zondo would follow through?
Yeah. Sally, I don't think that the Deputy Chief Justice has any intention of blinking. He literally laid down the law. I think today, Jacob Zuma's ducking and diving came to an end. And he has a choice. He can come before the commission, or he can force the police and the NPA to issue a warrant for his arrest. It really depends on him. And I think the Deputy Chief Justice was very clear. And I think the other thing that we need to take into consideration, Sally, was that the National Association of Democratic Lawyers, NADAL, issued a statement today and condemned the Zuma Foundation for trying to bring into disrepute and to call into question the bona fides of senior counsel, both Pretorius and Nugai Tobi. And this is, of course, after the pro-Zuma forces launched a massive attack on these lawyers. And I think that essentially the legal fraternity is saying enough is enough. And of course, this is not the first time that Jacob Zuma has called out on his filibustering. Remember, in the Shabir Sheikh related corruption case, it took us something like 9 years to get back to getting him into a court of law. And eventually the court ruled that he was litigating vexatiously, that there was no case in court. So I think that his legal problems have just compounded. And as I said, Sally, the delaying tactics has come to an end. I think the Deputy Chief Justice has called his bluff.
Karima, I have to ask you about the President Cyril Ramaphosa. I know you're a keen watcher of what's going on in the ANC. He was in Bojanala near Rustenburg in the northwest. And there was an interesting article, the Mail and Guardian's front page story was that Cyril Ramaphosa is in trouble because he doesn't have the branch support. What do you make of his visit today? And would you agree that he is in trouble with the branches?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure whether eNCA covered the deliberations in the Northwest. As you know, the top 6 is there. There's a provincial conference happening. And you had Ace Magashule issuing an apology. I think that what is happening is that there is a very real contest going on for branch support. And as you know, this is all in the run-up to the National General Council, which is going to be happening in May 2021. And that's a few months after Ace Magashule is appearing in court. He's appearing on the 19th of February. And I think that both factions are trying to, basically consolidate support. But I think as the legal processes start taking its course, I think it's going to be very hard for people like Ace Magashule and Jacob Zuma to continue to get the branches to come behind them. The big issue, of course, is the gatekeeping that happens at branches, and to make sure that the people who constitute branches are doing so within the framework of the ANC Constitution, because there's been complaints that the entire membership program is hijacked, and that the entire, process to qualify branches to make them in good standing so that they can elect delegates to vote in conferences, that process has been captured. So I think that is going to be the ANC's big nightmare. And given that Ace Magashule is going to be tied up in a court case, it's going to be very difficult to see how he's going to keep his hands on that process. because he's going to be tied up in legal battles. And I think that task is going to fall to his deputy, Jesse Duarte. And I think that it does give the president some room to maneuver, but certainly a very tightly contested contest going on in the African National Congress for ground support, Sally.
Thank you so much, Karima Brown, political analyst, and of course, host of The Fix here on eNCA. Well, let's